Hey everyone, my name is Alexandra and I am a watercolor artist. Today I am going to be showing you guys how to make 4 adorable, super simple gift tags that you guys can use this Christmas. This is such an easy thing that you guys can paint, or if you want to paint along with your kids, it's such a sweet, special added touch to people's gifts. Let's get started. For supplies today, you guys will need 2 cups of water. I have 1 for clean, 1 for dirty water, a napkin for drying your paintbrushes. Paintbrushes today, I'm using Princeton rounds numbers 2 and 6, but if you guys just have some sort of small brush for detail and one that's a little bit bigger, then that works perfect. For paint, I'm using Art Philosophy & Co.'s Terrain palette, and I've just added a brown and sort of a burnt red color as well. But again, if this is something that you guys are painting along with your kids, whatever watercolor paints that you have on hand will work perfectly fine for this. For our gift tag specifically, what I did is I bought a stencil cutter that cuts out these nice circle shapes. For these, you guys can do them circle, square, whatever you'd like. If you don't have any fancy cutters, then feel free to just trace it out, use some scissors, cut it out by hand, and then I just used a hole punch to make the hole for where my string can go. So keeping it simple, all of mine today are circle, but you guys are welcome to do any shape that you want. For our first one, we are going to paint a tiny little wreath onto our gift tag here. So starting with my larger brush, I'm gonna go into my green paint here. And I just sort of in a circular shape. So if you guys want, which I'm actually gonna do, is I'm gonna paint a really faint circle shape on here that I'm able to follow. And now that I've done that, I'm just gonna go around and I'm painting some leaves all the way around. I'm using a light color just because I'm going to layer onto my wreath a little bit. So using the tip of my paintbrush down first, and I'm just applying pressure as I'm pulling back, working my way around the entirety of the wreath. This one sometimes is a little bit easier if you twist your paper as you go. So you get those really nice shapes. Now for these specifically, you guys can add as much or as little detail as you want, because typically with gift tags, chances are you have more than one that you need to make. So my goal with this is to show you some super simple but adorable ways to do this that you guys can do really quick. So if you want to make a bunch of them, you're not going to be spending hours and hours painting your gift tags. So I'm just finishing my little circle wreath there. So you can see I've gone all the way around. I had it a little bit off-centered, so I'm gonna paint the leaves a tiny bit bigger on this left-hand side here just to balance it out a little bit more, so it's a little more centered looking. Okay, so you can see it's already so cute. We're gonna go in with our small brush and we'll add some berries now. So I'm going into sort of my deep red paint here. And I am just adding little clusters of berries all throughout my wreath. And right away it looks so much more Christmassy. So now the last thing that I'm gonna do before we are all done with this one is just add a tiny bit more detail to my leaves. So I'm going in with my small brush into my green paint that I have mixed here. And I'm just gonna go over top of some of my leaves, not all of them, I just want to go over a few of them just to really make this stand out. So I'm being careful of where my paint is wet still from the red berries that I've added. And I'm just adding a little bit of dimension to this. This step is not necessary, but I find that it just brings my wreath to life a little bit more. Can even overlap some leaves if I want, just to make it more full. All right, so now that we've done that, on the back here, I can write to and from, and then our first gift tag is all done. So now that I have that, I'm just gonna flip it over and we're gonna put our to, from, there we have our first gift tag. All right, so now we're gonna go to our second one. And for this one specifically, I want to do something a tiny bit different. So I am actually gonna go with sort of this brown color that I have here. And I am going to paint in my full gift tag. I just wanna give this one a little bit of color before I paint on it. So this is something that when you guys do this, you'll have to give it a little bit of time to dry before painting onto it specifically. The reason I'm doing this is just to take away some of the white space and give it a little bit of interest, make it different from some of the other ones that we are going to paint. Okay, so I'm gonna let this one dry and then we're gonna come back to it and add some details. Okay, so now that this is dry, we're gonna go ahead and we're actually gonna paint a tiny little Christmas tree on it. So for our Christmas tree, I'm going with my small brush and I'm gonna go into this green paint that I have mixed. And the idea is that I'm gonna start from the top point of my Christmas tree. I'll go right below where this circle is here. And I am just painting tiny curved lines coming out from the center. And for these, you guys don't have to be too particular with how they look. We just want them going out all the way towards the bottom of our tree here. And I'm using a little bit of a dry brushing technique here just to get some nice texture for my tree. So that means that my paintbrush doesn't have a ton of water on it and you get that nice white space showing through and it gives it a really cool textured look. So now that I've done that, I'll go into my brown paint on my palette here. And we're just gonna paint our little tree trunk at the bottom. We'll add some more details to this, but I want to make it look more Christmassy now. So before we add details to our tree itself, to the green part, we'll add a little star on top. So I'm going in with my yellow gold paint. And for the star specifically, I am just doing lines in a cross shape. And then I'll add the diagonal. Because the star is so small, I find that this is the easiest way to get the most normal looking star. So now that I've done that, I can go into my tree and I'm adding yellow dots. Because I've painted with green already, you want to use really thick, highly pigmented paint so that it stands out on top. And the idea is that this is either looking like ornaments or Christmas lights. Doesn't really matter, but we'll scatter dots around and then we'll add a little bit of red in there as well. For this specifically, you guys are more than welcome to add whatever colors you'd like. So I'm just gonna go in with some red. Make it really stand out. And then the last thing that I want is to go in with a tiny bit of a darker green. And the idea is that I'm just adding some more lines into my tree to give it a little bit more depth. So I'm really not doing a lot here, but we're just making it look a tiny bit more three-dimensional. But you can see that the lights are still standing out, and we got our little star on there as well. All right, so we have now finished our second gift tag. So I'm just gonna move it off to the side here. And now we can go on to our third one. We're gonna take a brief pause in this tutorial because I have something to tell you guys. I am so excited to introduce my new course, From Palette to Paper, A Beginner's Guide to Watercolor. In this course, we do a deep dive into all of the foundational watercolor techniques. Then we go into depth painting florals, and after that we combine it all into one beautiful floral masterpiece. I have a link in the description below for more information, so go check it out. So for this third one, the idea is that we're kind of going to make it look like a Christmas ornament. For this one specifically, I've decided that we're going to do kind of diagonal curved stripes going down it. So again, I'm sticking with my small brush here. You guys can use whatever colors you like. I'm sort of sticking with a bit of a theme here, so I'm gonna kind of keep to that beige, green, red, and gold. So I'll actually start with my green color here. And starting from the top, I am just gonna paint some curved lines coming down. For this specifically, if you guys want to draw this ahead of time, you're more than welcome. Sometimes it's easier, especially if you're having your kids follow along. It's helpful to have them follow along with a line as well. But also with these, because this is the style of an ornament, you guys can have fun and truly paint it however you'd like. So I just have those slightly curved lines, and we're gonna go all the way towards the bottom. Then I'm just moving my string out of the way. You guys can always tie your string after too, which can make it easier. But we'll add those ones in. And now I'm gonna go in with kind of this burnt red paint that I have here. And I'm gonna do another skinny line in between. Now, just because I often can't help it and love to add little leaf details to all of my paintings, I am going to do that with the red lines that I just painted. So what that means is on either side of the line, I'm painting tiny little leaves with my brush. So the idea is it's like little teardrop shapes, and we're just gonna work our way all the way down. So what this is gonna do is it's just gonna fill up your painting more. And because, especially with watercolor, it can be difficult to get nice even lines with your paintbrush, it sort of breaks up the design just a little bit. And none of these have to be too particular. Once you get it all together, it's honestly gonna look cute no matter what. So we're just going to continue with the exact same concept around the rest of these. So I'm just going to add a little bit more red onto this right edge, just sort of give it the look that there's one more line there. Right, so that is it for our more Christmas ornament style of gift tag. And we are going to move on to our last one. This one specifically, I'm just going to scatter some different wintry, more Christmassy things on it. And yeah, we'll end up with a really cute little gift tag. So we are going to start with the idea of painting some candy canes on it, just to make it easier for us to see. I'm going to go back into this kind of cream color here that I had, and I'll use that as the base for my candy canes, and then we'll do that in combination with some red. So I can paint my little hooks, and we'll do a few of them facing different directions, scattered throughout our little gift tag. Do some kind of coming off the edge as well. So then once I've done that, I can go in with my red paint. Now I'm using my small paintbrush for the majority of these paintings that we're doing. If you guys are doing this and you're having a hard time with the detail, or you're going along with your kids and paintbrushes maybe aren't small enough or it's a bit tricky, you guys can make your gift tags as big or as small as you want to make it as easy for you guys to do. So now I'm going to go into my first candy cane, and I am just painting my little red stripes all the way around. So I know typically with these red and white striped candy canes, we would want to leave the candy canes white, but just because it's on a white backing, we needed to do a little something to make them stand out. So that's why I went with this beige color. If you guys go with a really light gray, then I find that works really well also. And then you'll see that as soon as you add the little red kind of curved stripes to your candy cane, right away you can see the shapes on your page. So I have one more to outline here. And now that we've done that, we can stick with our red, and let's just add some berries. So we'll do just some scattered little circles. You guys can cluster them in 3, or you can spread them out. I'm just going to be careful with these because I had a little bit too much water on them, so you just want to be aware of them so that you don't accidentally smudge them as you're going to paint other things. I'll just pick some of that up, paint 1 or 2 more. And this is just little blobs of paint. We'll add one or two up here by the string just to really tie everything together. And now the last thing that we're gonna add for this gift tag are some little pine branches. So going into my paint, sticking with my small brush here, I'm mixing my vine leaf and balsam paints, and then I'm gonna mix them with a tiny bit of blue to get a bit more of that forest green color. And now with my small brush, I'm going to paint a line on my page, and then I'll just do little lines sort of angling downward towards the center to make my pine branches. And we can face them in all different directions. They don't need to be too perfect. I kind of like them a little bit more messy. The idea is that it just brings in that green color and we get sort of that really nice wintry Christmassy mix. Maybe one more up top, and I'm just spacing everything out so that it essentially fills in my entire piece of paper here. All right, now the last thing that I need to do is write to and from on the back of the rest of these, and then our gift tags are all done. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you followed along or if your kids followed along, please send me photos of what they made. I would love to see. I hope that whoever you guys are gifting to this Christmas really enjoys this special handmade added touch. If there's anything else that you guys want to see future tutorials for, or if you want more tutorials that specifically are kid friendly, then leave a comment below and let me know. I would love to do more of what it is that you guys are wanting to learn. So please let me know. And if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.